Hi, I would start with a burning question. How many of you all know that how many children are born every year in India? 25 million children are born every year in India. But how many of these children can say that they are born in a hospital which is named after them? I was born here. That's my house. My parents used to live right above, and my father is a pediatrician, my mother is a general surgeon, and growing up was different for me. I was living in a household where critical care, where pediatric care, where all these things were a part of my daily routine. But all of it got me very curious. Curious on why every 3 minutes another child is coming in with a lot many problems, why everybody has to wait for 10 to 15 minutes in the pediatric clinic, why everybody is not getting the right kind of medicines. And all that curiosity as a young child got me to do nothing. I was literally passing through four tires and seeing where I can go from there. And I was still very curious into doing everything and anything I can get my hands on. When I was not allowed to ski in Kashmir, I got my hands on the ski and I was like, I'm gonna fall. It doesn't matter. When I couldn't figure out how to zoom in on the manual mode of my handycam, I was figuring it out for 7 days in Andaman. When I didn't have poker chips, we took out the Monopoly chips with my brother and we were still playing. And all of this curiosity had a tipping point. All of that curiosity had a tipping point when in eighth grade, there was a science project experiment. And in my school, there used to be simple chart paper. You have to put that chart paper, you have to explain it, and you'll get 19 marks out of 20. But I was like, I'm not going to do it. And that's where comes in this, where now I thought I am going to do a live experiment right in front of each and everybody. I don't care if it's going to work or not. So I'm right there in the science evaluation. The principal is going to walk in. I have my Mentos in my right pocket. I have the Mirinda right below the lava. And I'm just waiting for the principal to come in so that I'm going to pop in the Mentos. The volcano is going to erupt and it's going to work out. Right? I put in the first one. I put in the second one. I put in the third one. It's not coming out. It's not coming out. I decided to trash in everything I have in my pocket and it burst. It burst to a way where my principal is now covered with Mirinda and every senior knows my name. That who is this guy? Who is doing live projects in these small science experiments in 8th grade? But funny enough, I won. I won the first prize in that competition. And that is because that brings me to a lesson that don't be afraid to fail. I dared to do a live experiment there, and I was fine with even failing. I was fine with this not even working, but I was not afraid to fail. Again, being in a pediatric household, a lot of questions came in that okay, you will do a MBBS, you should become a doctor, but going against the routes, I went to a engineering college and chose the hottest topic that time, which is BTech in artificial intelligence from Virginia Tech and NMIMS. In my third year, I was again doing healthcare work. I was working with the largest hospital in Rajasthan, and I presented my paper there. I was awarded the Student Brand Ambassador awardee there. I had a great college life. I had a placement offer. I had the internship which I wanted from finance. But still, things didn't feel right. Still, there was an inherent burden that I'm still doing the mediocre way. I'm still doing things, and there are bigger problems and challenges in life which are very, very crucial to solve at the right moment. And then comes in a Babylon hospital, a hospital where I met my co founder. He and I both come from the same background. His father is again a pediatrician. He's a physician and he also was pursuing his PhD. I had my job offer at that time. And we both understood that there are multiple challenges in pediatric healthcare. There are challenges so big that we thought, why not take 3 months, 4 months? Let's figure out some problems and then we are going to leave for our jobs. All we used to do was sit in this room, read 12 research papers a day, talk to 10 pediatricians, talk to 10 physicians, tend to talk to 10 nurses and try to identify what are the main challenges and solve some of them. We tried doing a lot of things at that moment, but something changed. Something changed because we kept going. We kept going even when there was no hope. And another lesson which comes in from one of my favorite authors, Robert Frost, is that the woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. So we kept on going. We kept on going for 6 months till we tried to identify a big enough problem. And that's when I met Sikandar. Sikandar doesn't look into your eyes. Sikandar doesn't communicate his needs. Sikandar doesn't understand and doesn't experience the world the way we experience the world. His mother traveled 3 hours from a small village to our hospital in Jaipur, where she was questioned all around. A list of 50 questions was given to her, where she couldn't even understand 30 odd questions. We had to spend 3 days, three different doctors, and when that happened, we got to know that Sikandar has autism. Sikandar's parents were BP were coming from a below poverty line kind of area and didn't even have resources, didn't have any money. But that got me to think that why people like Sikandar are still being missed in India. Why people like Sikandar have to travel 3 hours, and why, when he could be diagnosed as early as 16 months, he has to wait till 5 years. And that's got me into more research. I got to know that every 1 minute, one autistic child is being born in India. And it has been on a disturbing rise. The numbers used to be 1 in 100 in 2017, which has risen to 1 in 36 in the past 7-8 years. And I was just looking at this industry from an external point of view. I had my thought processes, I had my reasoning, but I was just bamboozled when I got to know that the numbers are that high. And that's where we decided to do something. That's where we looked at solutions which existed in the West. We got to know that there's a 25 lakh eye tracker which can detect autism and somehow can help autism. And we again saw a small light, and again these two curious people went into their basement, started working, got our connections, and we got to know that this 25 lakh eye tracker is only with one university in India, which is the Ashoka University. And we again, like two people who are enthusiasts, went there, tried to talk to them. Somehow we wanted to just get our hands on the eye tracker. We convinced them for one entire month, and at the end of that month we were finally able to convince them, and they told us that okay, take the eye tracker. On our way back home, me and my co-founder thought that even if we use this solution, we cannot solve for Sikandar. And that's where another message comes in, that we were not thinking to put this solution at 10 places or 12 places. We were thinking big. We were looking at how can every child, all these 25 million children who are being born every year, can be solved. And we were acting very small. We were taking small changes every day. We were even failing. We failed at procuring the eye tracker, but we were learning very rapidly. We were learning so rapidly that we decided to break the norms, take a simple webcam, go to the field, and start taking some eye tracking video and see how that can help in changing the world. At the same time, stats are very important here because the 5-year-old child is getting detected at a very late age when he can be detected as early as 16 months. And that's where we started moving in that direction. We started with that webcam. We made a company by then. We started talking to these startup ecosystem people. We got to know what is this funding, how does this game work, how can we break into it. And that's where two people came in our life, Rajneesh Bhandari and Amit Jain. These were our angel investors, and they showed belief in us when nobody else did, when even we were not very sure of what we are doing, how we are going to make it, how it's going to happen. But we got some seed capital. And that's where we built India's first early autism detection tool, where now the child simply sits, watches a 5-minute video based on different video biomarkers, like how a social versus geometric pattern is, how autistic child reacts differently to geometric patterns versus looking at social cues, how he doesn't respond to his name, how he's very bad at tracking objects. And at the same time, we use multiple AI features on the back end. We both used our technical expertise and finally generated a report which can tell you in 5 minutes whether your child has anything related to autism or not. But the journey continued. We had to prove our clinical efficiency. We had to prove that this system actually works on a larger set of pool. And there were multiple challenges every day. There were challenges like the parent distracting the child while watching the video. There were challenges like the lighting is not good enough. There's challenges like the chair is not good enough for even the child to sit. And that's where another lesson kicks in. That according to aerodynamic laws, the bumblebee cannot fly. Its body weight is not the right proportion to its wingspan. But similarly to how big pharma companies were trying to solve this, all of them wanted to solve this. And who are we to solve it? We are just two curious people in our room. But ignoring these laws, the bee flies anyways. And that's where the bee flied. We went to Shark Tank India as the youngest and the fastest startup. We incorporated our startup in May. We got there in June. We had absolutely no idea of how to even do it, but we were just figuring it out on the way. We were just seeing how we can do things faster and better than how other people do. And Shark Tank gave us awareness. Shark Tank gave us a market we can cater to. It gave us the awareness, it gave us the things which actually made an impact in how we made our business. And once things start going in, things keep on getting better. We had a team by then. We were part of WTF cohort, which are 20 people who are selected under the age of 25 by Nikhil Kamath. Always growing up, I had looked up to how he built Zerodha. I was a fan of the podcast, and then getting to speak at that podcast was pretty amazing again. We got the national award from Mr. Piyush Goyal on how this innovation can go into the ruralist parts of India and can have an impact there. We were selected as the only startup from Rajasthan in the last 5 years as an AI startup to actually make the Google cohort of top 20 AI startup this year. And at the same time, we were trying to convince the government, they're trying to convince more and more doctors on how we can get this solution on ground, where Rajasthan government decided to support us and install it at 30 PHCs, which are near to that area. 30 PHCs, which means that people who don't have access to this technology and access to getting screened will now get this access. People like Sikandar can now finally be screened. And that's where mission was on that way. That's where the vision and mission of screening 25 million children every day was turning up very well. And we wanted to make it a large scale campaign, a campaign so big that how can every child not be screened? Because what we understood is that the cost of late detection is so high that you cannot miss it. It's not sensible as a country to miss that diagnosis. And that brings me to my final lesson for today, that we did not build this thing because the timing was right. We built it because the delay was wrong. Thank you.